Hello and welcome back to the Monch Hours Podcast. I'm your host, John, and I'm here with my good friend.
That's me, Jordan. What up, guys?
All right, Jordan, man, how you doing?
Dude, just frustrated after our little hiccup for last week, but...
Yeah. Well, I guess for our viewers who don't know, our listeners, we had a little issue on the recording side for one of us. An hour's plus worth of content just gone. But you know how it goes. That's the podcast life, baby. That's the life of a content creator.
Yeah, dude. Well, that's not the life that I want to make a habit of living.
Yeah, when you do it once, it's all good, man. Just keep watching it.
Yeah.
Keep watching it. But yeah, so this week we're talking about Samurai Champloo, pretty much the base of this episode since we just finished up in its entirety. So we hope that you guys have come along with us on this big ride. 26 episodes, I think it was. Let me double check here.
Yeah, it's 26.
26, man. It was a big one. And we thank you. It's a one-off, one season. So we're going to be talking about that. And we hope you guys enjoy because we sure did. And with that, we'll crack a cold one and cue the intro. There you go, man.
Welcome to the Monch Hours Podcast, where we consume manga and anime with pleasure. Crack a cold one and enjoy the show.
I hope we can finally fight without any distractions now.
How do you know the Mugen style?
Fate is a fascinating thing. The Mugen style would be something that I alone am the master of. There's no escaping that it's your destiny to die by my hand.
Since it is destined, I'd like to see what the hand of God is all about.
Gladly. I've been sitting idle now for far longer than I would have liked.
I'm not going there to die. I'm going to find out if I'm really alive. I have to do it, Faye.
It's all a dream.
Yeah. Just a dream.
We're back. Jordan, what are you sipping on over there on your side?
Oh, bro, I got the dragon fruit hard seltzer.
Dragon fruit hard seltzer.
Light, crisp, and refreshing for this hot day.
Yeah. Oh, it's pretty hot over there?
Dude, I feel like Hawaii, the temperature stays the same constantly, so literally like year-round, it's like 85 to 90 with 50% humidity. Right. And yeah, air conditioning in my house this year isn't really existent. Like, it's all window units. It's not, like centralized air. So,
right.
Like, being inside's kind of a shit show.
Yeah, I mean, you always talk about that being hot. I'm sure with being Hawaii and all, you get the humidity going your way just a bit.
Yeah, it's the only downfall about Hawaii living, bro.
Island life, you got to pay the cost somewhere.
Yep, exactly. What are you drinking though?
I'm just drinking a Union Jack West Coast IPA. Something simple this week.
Nice.
Yeah, just keeping it classy.
Anchor? Is that Anchor?
No, Union Jack.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you mean by Anchor?
Like the brewery, or is it the brewery?
Oh, dude, I think it's Firestone Walker.
Oh, okay. Yep, never mind then. I was off.
You're talking, man, you're just
dude, I thought I knew.
Seltzer. Yeah, you try to flex. Backfired on you, man.
Shit.
Next time you get it.
Let me play my role.
Yeah. But yeah, so as we mentioned earlier, this is going to be the Samurai Champloo episode. Now, we did kind of go over in extent Samurai Champloo when we had our episode of Nujabes, or the influence of Nujabes and Samurai Champloo. But so,
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys haven't seen that one yet, I invite you to see that one, because that one we actually go more in depth to how this anime and both Nujabes influence other animes, music, other avenues in media, and how it carries on into the medias today. You can see the inspiration from other shows. So this one's gonna be just kind of be like a ultimate kind of like fond memory and what we love best about it. We'll probably talk about the influence as well, but that's what it's gonna be about. So Samurai Champloo actually aired in Japan in 2004, and which is pretty cool because it came to Adult Swim, or I should say Toonami, in 2005. I believe it was May of 2005. Let me just double check here. I have some notes. Adult Swim, May 14th, 2005, and it ended, I believe, in March of 2006. And then also you had Canada in there as well, December 2006, so kind of years apart. But anyway, so when we think about that, it's how old was I? Let's see, it's 2020, so 15. I was about 13 years old when this first aired, maybe 12 years old. So the memories I have of Champloo are pretty significant in terms of like sentimental value, which I'm sure a lot of people who've originally seen Samurai Champloo that can stand as a testament to them as well. As often as we find these shows that we grew up in, especially for the 90s era, have immense sentimental value to them, along the likes of Cowboy Bebop, which came out much earlier, but I mean, you get the gist of it. We're kind of stuck in that forever 90s kid era and in our fond memories of it. So I kind of want to ask you, Jordan, like before we got into this Champloo rewatch, I'm sure my memories are kind of broken up a bit, of course, but was there a moment you remembered, a moment that was the best memory of the show before you dived back into it?
I've always thought of that baseball episode.
Right.
That was literally like that's where my mind would go every time I would think back on the show, like before our watch through. So there's a lot that I hadn't remembered before we started this.
Right.
Because ultimately, like my mind was like, oh fuck yeah, Samurai Champloo is dope. It's got that baseball episode.
Yeah.
But like it's so much more than that, But yeah, like a question I asked was if that what I thought of right before this rewatch, and that's where my mind would go every time. There's something about that, and still rewatching it, going back experiencing that episode again, like I'm pretty sure like that's gonna still be my memory. Like that's what I'm gonna think of when I think about it still, because that episode was so good.
No, that makes sense. I actually didn't remember the baseball episode, to be quite honest with you. No. I think my memory has to be actually the first episode of Champloo, when we finally get the fateful meeting of Jin, Mugen, and Fu, of course, and the remixes of both their paths, or all three of their paths coming together towards the end there, and the kind of brawl and scrap. I think it's because, as a kid, or as anybody who watched this the first time around, if you missed an episode, you missed it. There's no streaming services where you can go back and watch anything. You'd often have to wait or catch a re-airing or repeat of a certain set episode, and who knows when that would take place. So Champloo ran, I think, quite a bit, not only in 2005, if I remember correctly, but also throughout, the lifespan of Toonami and Adult Swim. Which platform it was. It showed reruns all the time, and for whatever reason, I think the most times I would catch it would be that first episode, and I would be like, all right, yeah, let's go. I can watch from point blank, and or the first one, and watch it in its entirety again. Never quite worked out that way. I also catch some and miss some and all that, but the baseball one, I really had zero recollection of, or otherwise. I do have recollection of like when the foreigner, and then of course the people on the ship, and then the one with the chakra and the Christian and all that. I have memories of those, but the baseball one totally caught me by surprise. So I was really, really excited to see that unfold.
Yeah, that's cool. Like coming from your perspective, since that was my, the baseline for my viewing in the past, it's cool, like, seeing, and talking to you about, like, this is basically, like, your first experience, like, as an adult. Because, I mean, a lot of the times we can't really trust our memories as kids.
Mm-hmm.
We just know, like, that was badass. Sometimes when you look back on something that you thought was badass, it doesn't always stand up, There's a lot of things that I thought were like dope, like Power Rangers back in the day. Like, and then watching it again, you're like, oh, that's kind of like
cringe.
Yeah, kind of cringe. But
Mighty Morphin,
dude. Actually, like, I'd still fuck with it though.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. But yeah, it's a good. It stands a test of time. We've said this in our previous episode before, but watching it right now, and this is like shout out to the studio that produced it. I think it's Manglobe, or I'm not sure Manglobe, but Manglobe. It's so good. It stands up to today's animation, I want to feel like, and so I would imagine if adults watching it back in the day when they first saw it and they can actually appreciate it to its highest potential, they were like, wow, this is an amazing show, both in animation and music. Again, like we mentioned earlier in our previous episode, the whole package was a standout package, a standout anime series, of course, directed by the infamous Watanabe. And that name has a prolific prolific stamp in the anime culture for a reason, because of the Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, Carol Tuesday, and I go on. But it's really like just amazing in my eyes. I watch this right now, and if this anime came out today, other than the formatting and of course it's not gonna be as clean or as like sharp due to its age, but if it came out right now, I would be like, wow, this is a standout anime regardless.
Yeah. I'm curious, I'm not sure if you might know this, but I know, wasn't it mid-2000s when they switched from actually like doing like is it celluloids or whatever, for the animation where they draw them on, the cells, which a lot of people collect nowadays, and switched to digital. Do you know when that happened? Because I'm curious to see if this was still done in like the old school way, or if this is digitally, produced.
I'm not. That'd be something cool to look up.
Yeah,
definitely. I'll probably take a look at this after this episode, because that'd be interesting for sure.
Yeah, if it was kind of like, I was thinking if it was done in like the old school way, like I'd be interested in maybe like picking up one of the cells, because that'd be pretty dope. Just
it
after,
would.
Yeah, that'd be something like cool to have. I'm sure a lot of collectors would be able to answer that question for us.
Yeah, I'm actually like, I got a little ahead of myself, and I want to I have like an eBay item that's watched right now. It's like the original New Type magazine with the promotion of Samurai Champloo.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I have it. They're actually not that expensive, to be honest, like less than $10, which I mean is like, in terms of collector's value, not that expensive in my eyes, because that's like pretty cool. But the magazines are actually really thick. I didn't realize how thick they were. I didn't remember, because I actually had one of like the original 1993 printing of New Type for Sailor Moon, and it's pretty thick. And I kind of wanted to like take it apart and use it as some type of aesthetic in my area here. But then at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know if I want to. So getting like a original cell would be freaking sick. It's also like the picking up a vinyl of the original soundtrack would be insane too. These actually carry off like immense value. I think they just had a reprint or a special Cowboy Bebop collection for the vinyl on that series. So I'd be keen to pick up one for Champloo, because as we know, Nujabes, and not just Nujabes. We always say Nujabes, but there was very good other artists on here as well. Like I think it's Tucci. I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's Tsutchie, who is prolific on this soundtrack as well. And we have Fat John and Force from Nature. So those four were kind of the main music style that we get, which, as I mentioned, the package is quite Like, fantastic. It leaves you speechless, honestly.
Yeah, it's pretty stacked.
Yeah, it's a stacked lineup.
Yeah, if there's something you...
Oh, go ahead.
You know, like, I was just going to say, if there's anything, if you were to take away anything from the show, like, I don't think it'd be possible for anyone not to mention the music. And I know that we've harped on this a lot, but, just like as a whole, I feel like comfortable saying that there's not too many people out there that would be like, that music just didn't fit. Even if it's not their favorite, they might not be hip hop heads. I don't think anyone could say like the blending of the two, the show didn't fit together. Yeah, it didn't fit. Like it was like if it was a puzzle, these pieces fit together perfectly, and that's a testament to both the artists doing the the animation, and then also the artists on the mixing of the soundtrack. Right.
I mean, it's like you said, you wouldn't think two and two go together, considering this takes place in like an alternate Edo period in Japan. And then we have modern day, obviously, hip hop, and then even as we see in some of the episodes where there's like tagging and graffiti involved in that kind of culture, and the blending of cultures is fantastic. And I'm a sucker for like a blending of cultures because I'm essentially a blend of culture, being biracial myself. So I've kind of grown up with that, and it's a beautiful thing when the blending is done tastefully and respectfully. And I know there's a lot of people who claim like appropriation these days, and I'm not sure how exactly. I'm more on the lean on the fence of cultural appreciation when it comes to usually things like that. So I can appreciate this immensely, even as my age is now. And I don't think I would have that same appreciation as I did as a kid, because I just think, whoa, fuck yeah, samurais, how badass.
Yeah.
That goes. But it's great, and it's funny because, well, I shouldn't say it's funny. It's just us growing up and being boomers now, when we go out and we mention sometimes Champloo is less and less people know what it is, whereas Bebop, everyone's going to say, oh yeah, Bebop, I know that one is. And that's probably because when people get into anime and they ask for suggestions for old ones, Bebop is probably the number one, maybe other than like NGE and like Gurren Lagann and kind of the old ones. But
the classics.
Champloo kind of gets shadowed a bit by Bebop, I think, and that's probably why. And there's people that don't really know Champloo exists, and that's like when we kind of first came out in the Twitter world. Sweet Twitter handle, Sweet Baby Lay. She was like, or this person, I don't know who, this person I should say, was like asking for suggestions, and I noticed that they watched Bebop and other Watanabe shows, and I was like, what about Champloo? They'd never heard of it. And then I told them, well, the kind of the catch or the hook is like, well, it's produced by Watanabe, directed, and then the music is by Nujabes. And then it's like, oh, what? My dad used to listen to Nujabes, and I know it, and then that really brings people in. So it's interesting how that plays out in today's time, and I wonder if, I shouldn't say I wonder, it's like I know as we progress further into the latter years, it's going to be a gem in the rough.
Yeah, that's for sure. We need to keep shouting the praises that is Champloo.
Champloo, but everyone who's seen Champloo, I haven't met someone that says it's not a good. They rank it among one of the best that they've ever seen, for sure.
I have a question for you. So we're both fans of Bebop as well. Is there any similarities that you see in between the two series? Obviously, they're different in so many ways, but that's funny because I tried to. This one, it's hard not to compare or bring up Bebop because of the similar style and the direction by Watanabe, but it's almost like I don't want to because I don't want to take away from Champloo. But yes, the similarities, of course, comes with the episodic kind of flow that this show has, where you're a couple episodes of progressing the main storyline, which is finding Fu's, which we come to know is, spoiler alert, Fu's father is the samurai that smells of sunflowers. So we have that as the main story device, where then we have these what would be called filler episodes, maybe in other shows,
and maybe that would be the correct term in Champloo, but they don't feel like filler episodes. Even though they have nothing that progresses the main storyline, they do have character development, and we do get this insight into each and every character, which I think works because the way that, you know, Bebop and Champloo starts is you just get like these characters thrown into you, like this is who they are. You don't really get their whole lifestyle where, you know, if you have like Bleach, for example, with Ichigo, like immediately you're like, oh, I don't know, what are they called, the Shinigami or, you know, blah blah blah. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he gets his plot device given to you in the first episode, his intro and all that. Where these characters just like, hey, this is Spike, this is Mugen, this is Jin, this is Fu. They just came together by fate. You don't really know much about them, and so you're obviously hungry for that info. So when we have these filler episodes, they're not really I mean, if they are filler, they're still giving an immense value to them. Or be it, you know, some are just like so freaking amazing, like the baseball episode, that you can't help but to enjoy it. So I think there's obviously the episodic flow that is similar between both Bebop and Champloo, is what I have to say. That comes to mind first. Not sure what you would think.
Well, yeah, I was definitely going to touch on that as well. And you made, you know, good points on how, you know, it seems like filler, and it does, you know. As your first watch through, you might take it as that. Like, I know I definitely would. You know, I watched the series and I was like, a lot of these do seem like filler. And then I started thinking about it. And like you said, it might not be exactly plot progression, but through character development, you are, you know, progressing the plot. You're learning about these characters and their motivations and where they're coming from. And with that, you're seeing why they are, you know, pursuing these goals of theirs. So I think in a way, like, it's just a different, I guess, way of storytelling, which is pretty cool. You know, it's not your typical, we're going to give you a situation and have the characters have to deal with that to move forward. Mm-hmm. It's them, you know, just encountering everyday life, and then you see how they'd react to that and further, you know, they grow as characters, and it just tells a story through, like you said, the character development, which I really like.
Right.
It's more something you have to think about. It's not going to give it to you, you know, piecemeal, and you have to, you know, you can just shut your brain off. You're actually like, oh, that's the motivation. That's, you know, you get, for example, you get Jin, you sum up that he ended up killing his master, but it doesn't tell you, you know, initially what that case was. You're just like, okay, he killed him for some reason. Now you have all these guys that throughout the series end up showing up and, you know, blaming them for the death of their master.
Right.
And then you come to find out through an episode why that happened.
Yeah.
And it was through, you know, he had an honor code that he lived by, and his master was trying to change what their dojo stood for and becoming basically, like you said, assassins. And he ended up fighting him over this because, as you also learned at the end of the series, there was another man who worked for the Shogun
the Shogunate.
Yeah, who would basically gave the assassination order to his master. So it wasn't like he like took it on himself to murder his master, but he's not, you know, in the early episodes, he's not telling all these people who are coming to fight him, like, what happened. He's just like, I did kill him.
Yeah.
And he's just owning that. And like that, you see his character develop through that. Like, this is who he is. He might have done it for righteous reasons, but he knows that he still did it. Mm-hmm. And he's still, you know, bearing that cross, you know.
He's gonna carry the weight.
Yeah. And yeah, so there's so many examples of, you know, the story developing like that. It's kind of a slow burn, you know. You don't get all the answers right away. And it's cool in that aspect, though.
I think like what I appreciate, and maybe why this, like, as I mentioned earlier, kind of stands the test of time, is because as youngins, we watch this and we think, oh, okay, pretty badass. And then as we grow older, we think, okay, not only is this badass, but this is very relatable. I mean, not like, okay, slashing, but very relatable in terms of, like, we each have these burdens in life that we carry throughout our life. You know, these actions have consequences, and maybe some things happen that we need to just buck up and take it on, you know, whether it be You know, like in Spike, like prolific Bebop, you're gonna carry that weight. And here, when you mention Jin and his actions, you know, he's not complaining about it. He did what he did, and he's living his life. He's carrying that weight. So there's a lot of themes, or another similarity, I guess, would be is like you just like the struggles in life and having to push yourself to continue on and move on and live your life, be it a climatic end, which we saw in Bebop, or a climatic happy ending, or, you know, a continuation that we saw in Champloo with both Jin, or all three, Jin, Fu, and Mugen living near the end there. So, and then again, before I leave this topic here, because I like it a lot, the similarities. I do, again, we're talking about the music, and this is where the music actually transcends of being an original soundtrack that sounds amazing, but also, I believe, using as a story device, as a plot device, because it pushes the narrative of the blending of cultures we have here in Champloo, whereas in Bebop, you have that jazz beat, that kind of cowboy, that space funkiness to it, and then even you would have in one of his most recent works, which is Carol and Tuesday, which is on Netflix right now. The music is the whole the whole show. Ooh, I think I ate a bug or something right now.
Oh shit.
Oh, that was weird. The music is the whole premise, the whole show, and it really, I don't know, he's got such a tap into, like, he's a genius, because he taps into what's like amazing, what like the generation is like constantly craving. In like, it's not just Watanabe. There's shows like, obviously, like, I think the next thing comes to mind is Naruto and Naruto Shippuden. Like, you can hear like a single, like, I don't know what you call it, like the flute, you know, that Naruto flute that comes on. It's like, that's Naruto, you know, that's when I hear that, I automatically think of that universe. It carries the show, it helps it lift it, and brings in that full package and kind of brings everything together. So the music is huge for me, and I keep mentioning it because I don't know if I consider myself a musician, but I play guitar, and music was and still is a big part of my life, and so I'm always gonna like not talk about it.
Yeah.
So that's those are my answers from not comparing it to really diving into it, which is a good question, man. You got some good questions. I really appreciate that. Kind of going forward, did you expect like Champloo to have the ending that it did have, and to where things kind of wrapped up neatly, and we do have that bliss?
Honestly, no. Like I said, I didn't remember too much of it from my first watch through, and that included the ending. But throughout the series, like, it kind of gave you the feeling that things weren't going to turn out that way.
Right.
And when they did, like, that was kind of a pleasant surprise, you know, because you grow to love these characters. Absolutely. I know I did, at least. And like, I didn't want anything bad to happen, but I had that sinking feeling that it would. And as their fights at the end progressed, then you're like, shit, like, it might not turn out the way we want it to. And, you know, you see Jin when he's fighting, what was it? I can't remember the guy's name.
The Hand of God.
Yeah, the shogunate.
God, I got goosebumps just saying that.
Yeah.
Dude, I gotta like break off here real quick and interrupt, because like, God, the Hand of God, God Hand, like, I hear those like names quite often in animes being used for characters or names, but my God, dude, I just love those words used together. I don't know what it is about it, but it has meaning when I hear it.
Yeah, dude, it really instills a sense of like the visual you get when you think about it. You're like, oh, that's, if they gave you that nickname, you'd like, everyone's fucked, you know? No one's gonna touch you. So yeah, that's a good nickname. I hope one day I do something so badass that I can earn a nickname even close to that.
Yeah.
Dude, I'd take the Pinky of God or something. And I don't even know the full hand. Shit.
God's pointer finger.
Yeah.
You gotta work your way up, bro.
I know, dude. Gotta start from somewhere. Shit, fingernail even. But like I was saying, like, you see through the fights, like, it's not going the way you would think it would towards a happy ending.
Right.
Jin, he basically like loses. He gets like slashed and he falls off the bridge, in that classic old school samurai scene where they both charge for the single slash and they're left standing for half a second and then one falls. In that instance, it was one of our heroes, and
yeah,
it was, towards the end of the show, and I'm like, are they going to be able to fit him back into this? And, they do. We get a happy ending, but there's a sense of dread.
There's price. Yeah, there was a sense of dread. I think, because it keeps you on your... the story of, like, wandering samurais, and I have to, again, go to the hand of a god, being, like... The character design on all these characters are fantastic. Like, round of applause. But I love when you take, essentially, a character, like, design is like, he's got neutral colored clothes, kind of shanty looking, the straw hat, but his presence is so known in his design. I'm listening to this in dub. His voice actor is just, like, phenomenal. It's like, this isn't, like, a typical character, like, you would see, like, oh, this is going to be a badass guy, when they're, like, off, like Toguro, for example, was like fleshed out. This is just like a normal looking dude, essentially, but you can just tell by the way everything is so expertly crafted that he's the hand of God. Yeah,
there's an air about him that you can sense even though you're not there. Like, usually it's when you're in the presence of someone with that kind of... It's a confidence thing. You can tell through his speech, how he's talking. When he's talking when fighting... Mugen and Jin, like, he doesn't care which one he's fighting. Like, he tells them, like, one of you can go to save Fu, but you have to choose who's going to stay and fight me. And just saying that, that's such just badass confidence,
right?
To not care. You're like, I can take on either of you. I'm taking on both of you at the same time. I don't care which one of you wants to stay. You better choose, though. And just whenever a character gives his opponent the choice.
The choice. You
give any of your opponents the choice on to make any move. It always turns out making you look like a badass.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. If I ever get like caught in a rough situation, I'm gonna do like the glasses thing where I go, which one?
Hopefully the sun catches it.
Well, one of you will walk away from this. Decide for yourself.
I mean, if you say it with confidence, they might be like, "Oh, this guy's either fucking insane or he knows something."
Studied the Blade, my friends, and by that I mean the video game Blade.
Oh man, the vampire, the Daywalker Blade.
Yeah, exactly. What's his Spike Lee?
No. Fuck. Why can't I remember now? Not Spike Lee, dude. That's a director.
Yeah, but Blade.
Blade, the vampire. Did he direct it? I don't know if he directed that. Wesley Snipes was the vampire. No, that's Wesley Snipes, bro.
What the fuck? Spike Lee. Spike Lee. Okay.
It's not Spike Lee, bro. It's Wesley Snipes.
Spike Lee Blade. Spike Lee being eyed to helm Marvel's Blade reboot. Okay.
Well, this is the reboot. Well, and it's probably the direct it, because they already picked the actor for the reboot.
Yeah. Okay. Well, either way, we're both right.
All right, we're both right. We're both settle on that.
But yeah, so like the fight here was fantastic between obviously Jin and the Hand of God, and the Mugen fight was just chaotic. It was chaos incarnate from both sides of the parties, which is awesome. The voice actor for the younger brother, I'm not sure, but I've heard him in so many roles, and it's like he plays that kind of just insane character very well. So
the Unhinged.
Quick shout out. Yeah, Unhinged. Yeah, exactly. I want to give a quick shout out to whoever that is. I gotta look it up. Because I remember like I was hearing it, and all I could think about was like Digimon. Like he's played some crazy demon in Digimon, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was like Devi Vmon or something. But I'm not too sure. But it's okay. We're not talking about that right now, anyway. So
yeah. I mean, speaking on that, just that character, the character device, the Unhinged, as I said. Like I always love that. I'm glad you brought it up because I wasn't even thinking about him. But Like just thinking like all like the series, whenever there's someone like that, I'm like, oh dude, I don't know what it is, but they give those like those excited goosebumps. Like you just want to see where it's gonna go, how their madness is gonna translate.
Yeah, because it's gonna be like the fight's gonna be insane because they're not gonna be like your typical stuff, and that's why they're usually one of the most dangerous because they really don't have any care for their own life. It's like in Bebop when you had one of my favorite episodes is like the Mad Perot, which is like a character who was also unhinged, who was experienced on it. It was just insane, honestly.
Yeah,
those are good. I love those characters as well.
Yeah, I always think of is Mikami in Death Note, and there's that scene where he's like, he has the Death Note and he's hiding on like the other side of the door, like peering through the keyhole, and he's just like whispering to himself as he's writing everyone's name in the Death Note, and he's like, delete, dude. Just thinking about that scene, and it's like towards the end of the series if you want to check it out, but yeah, it always gets me, and yeah, further seeing like other characters like that, I'm always.
I think it's because every human has like that side of them where, you don't know. All it takes is a couple things to make someone snap, and I think maybe it reaches out to that deep, dark, hidden part of us. We're maybe not that far off from there.
Yeah, I mean, we've all. Well, I don't know if we all have, but we've seen the Joker, you and me, and at least have you? I don't know.
Yeah, I have, of course.
Yeah.
The most recent one.
Yeah. So, yeah, basically, like that whole movie is that story of how you can fall into that madness.
All it takes is just domino effect.
Yep. So, yeah, I guess you're right. That would be probably something inside of us that's like, I guess it's not too far off. Like a series of events, we could end up that crazed.
Mm-hmm. We're just humans after all.
We are. Can be broken, unfortunately.
Right. So now after watching everything, and we've finished it, we've gone through all the episodes. What would be your number one takeaway? And then I guess what would also be your, like, you have to watch this because.
So takeaway, and I didn't realize this until literally like right before we were recording, and I was just kind of thinking about things and pontificating, but I was just looking back on the series as a whole, and you start out, these characters, each of them have their own, backstories and like motivations on going forward that you see in different episodes. Each episode might focus on a different character, but you see, and for example, you see at least one instance where each of these characters has a family or a substitute family, be it like Jin and his dojo family, Mugen and the band of criminals, Fu and her real family, and each one of them goes through an instance of betrayal.
Right.
And they kind of are affected by that throughout the whole series. You see why they are acting the way they are, and once we get to the end, they've dealt with that personally through the actions that they've taken. They've worked through it, and after, come the last episode, they're a family. The three of them have found a new family.
Yeah.
That they realize they can actually count on each other, and it's like a story of healing. And like when I thought about that, I was like, oh shit! Like it kind of just changed everything I thought about the show as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of. It was just a different take on it because you can look at it on a surface level, just being a journey, and look at it that way. But seeing it in that light, I was like, oh shit, this just got even better for me. Like, it's something I would definitely want to rewatch, like more often than I had in the past. Just having that mindset on it, and it's interesting because as a kid watching it, I definitely wouldn't have thought about that. So it's just cool, you go through your own life experiences, and then you're able to kind of pull, these little nuances that maybe the creator was shooting for that would go over the heads of someone who's younger and hasn't experienced as much in life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my takeaway on that. What was the other question?
No, that was actually fantastic. I think I'm gonna mirror that here on my side. But the other question would be is like, what is your number one? What would be your number one point? And if someone you were to recommend this series to someone.
I mean, I feel like the easiest one to make someone watch it is this, to show them maybe a clip or just explain like the music. Like we've hearkened on, constantly beating this over the head, but the music and the blending of that into the show on such a level, that is a major selling point. Everyone, for the most part, likes music. I mean, you can't just say everyone because there's some people who don't, but good music, a good score, and a animation story, those two blending together so well, it's something that most people can find enjoyment in. And I feel like if I were to try and pitch it to someone, sell it to them, that would be the main point that I'd just fall back on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I mean, you could then also touch on it's a good journey of friends, the story of a unlikely group on a journey to, I mean, it's a revenge story in a way, but it has a happy ending, which a lot of revenge stories don't. So I feel like that would be my move to sell it on someone.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. It's a pretty solid point. I think for me, my biggest takeaway, and it kind of echoes what you said, but like, everyone has their issues, and you got to keep going on. You can't just give up on things. It's gonna be hard. A lot of times it's gonna be rough. You're gonna have to face some demons, but keep going on, and then at the end of the day, you might find something you didn't have, which, like you said, at the end of the episode, I think kind of Jin says it best. He's like, all his life he's been searching for something, and now he can finally say has his first two friends, being in Mugen and Jin. So it's kind of like finding your people, or finding yourself and healing, which is my big takeaways as well, which is pretty cool considering the premise of what we have here in Champloo, with samurai fighting swordsmen with hip hop and R&B and breakdancing involved. What I would do for recommending someone, honestly, I just tell them something you have to experience, because I don't think I can like tell you in justice and say like, just watch the first episode. You're gonna like it or you're not gonna like it, and then hopefully it's so out of line for them and they go, what the fuck, and catch it.
Yeah, I gotta see more. It's one of those. And it's one of those things that you don't really see. I mean, you'll see somewhat in other shows, but hip hop not being that prevalent in a lot of shows. I know you're a big Devilman Crybaby fan. I hear that that's one of those shows that hip hop plays a big.
Dude. If you don't mind me breaking in here right now, actually I got chills when you mentioned that up. Devilman Crybaby is one of my absolute favorite all-time animes out there. It's the reason why it won Anime of the Year. And usually those titles are kind of like, whatever. But for a show that has won Anime of the Year, I think there's a lot of, like, again, it's underrated, or it's not as viewed as you would think, because how many times have it's too much times I count where no one's even heard or seen the latest Devilman. It's on Netflix, so it's easily accessible. But in that show as well, you have rap, this culture, rap, R&B, hip-hop, being used as a plot device, as a story device, as a connection point for not only the characters within the show, but us as viewers as well. It really solidifies the fact that there is a connection between us and the flow, the plot, the story. I feel like so Devilman does that to such an amazing degree, and maybe it was inspired, maybe that was used. Who knows what the inspiration comes from these days? But I would like to think that maybe they saw Champloo and said, "Wow, it works so very well." And I think it's just smart. It's just smart to tap into that culture, tap into that hidden beast within all of us, I guess, because we've grown up with it, and it'd be foolish not to tap into it. If you're using music as a plot device, you're using music in general, and you have a way to blend it into your show, your series, your manga, whatever, I think you're just gonna be like hitting a home run with that at that point.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, after watching this and knowing that Devilman Crybaby is another hip hop influenced show, like it's definitely something I'm probably gonna start in the next day or two, maybe tonight.
Well, I
I know
think like
you've been.
it's not like entirely like the rap and the hip hop isn't focused. It's like an accent to drive the story, because like there's gonna be shows that some episodes that you don't see it at all, but like when it does come up, it's so just like it's just like boom,
Yeah.
impact.
Well, I kind of want more of that right now.
Yeah, dude. Well, if you're watching Devilman, it's a get some fucking tissues, bro.
Dude, maybe I won't watch it. Fucking stop with these tissue shows.
Dude,
Keep giving me shit.
yeah, right, dude. I've got people recommending me. You know how much people have recommended your name and Weathering with You to me, and I'm just like, I can't. I know I'm gonna bawl. I'm gonna like keel over in fetal position and cry. It's like I can't, man. I don't know. I'm not there yet. I can only handle so much, right? After ReZero is over, then I'll jump into like that, because I'm right now. ReZero is like my emotional heartstrings being tugged.
Yeah, dude. Seriously, if you watch another one of those shows, you'll become one of these unhinged characters we were talking about.
You just see me on the news, bro.
Oh shit!
I'm gonna be like holding people hostage, and I'm like, what do you want? What are your
demands?
Yeah, I'm like, I want a spin-off of Rem and Subaru living happily together.
And then they're gonna be like, what is he talking about? I'm gonna be calling in, give him what he wants.
I'm on my Twitter going, give me what I want.
Shit. Oh. Yeah, let's not go. This is a dark path. Let's not go down there.
Yeah, no thanks. But anyways, yeah, so anything else you want to say about Champloo before we kind of wrap things up here?
No, I think I hit all the points I wanted to hit. Just, it's a beautiful show, and it sucks that we're done with it, you know? These one season series, I love them, but at the same time, you know, it's kind of one of those things where you're like, I wish there was more, you know?
I think it also lends to the kind of theme of like, that's life.
Yeah.
That's life. Sometimes you want to get you dealt the hand you're dealt.
Yep.
You know? And it's like, it'd be honestly weird for me. I would, if there was more, I would hopefully be a spinoff, or I don't know, man. I don't know if I want more, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just amazingly done the way it was. You know, we got it's a small period of time, like I'd say, what you think, like a year that they're together, maybe 6 months on this journey, and you know, you don't get to see what happens after, and there's something to that, like you can fill in after that with your imagination, which is also cool. So there's something to these, you know, small bite-sized, you know, slice of life. It's almost a slice of life in a way, because it's just a small chunk out of these 3 characters' overarching stories, which we'll never get to see the remainder. But, you know, that's the good thing about, you know, we can fill in just where our hopes they went. You know, hopefully they ended up being happy.
Yeah,
just be happy.
Just be happy. Yeah, I think I agree with that too. And like what I would tell somebody, I guess, or my final remarks on this is, Samurai Champloo is an anime that you're gonna, if you enjoy it and if you do like it and you watch it in its entirety, that's gonna be one of those ones that will follow you for a long time, maybe your lifetime. We've all watched anime and we've completely forgotten them until someone brings it up and goes, "Oh yeah, I've seen that." But Champloo is one of those ones that you will have fond memories of, and maybe some ideals you will adopt, or use as motivation, or just have that influence forever in your life. And again, like the music comes with that, because I'll never not listen to lo-fi and not think of Champloo. You know, I'll never not skip that intro. That intro is so amazing, and it's so prolific to the series as a whole. You know, the battle cry. Nujabes, they're tied in. They're one and the same to me. They're tied in. You can't have one without the other.
Exactly.
And that's huge. Like, name any other series that you can say that.
Yeah, exactly.
Very few. I know when I put you on the spot, but like very few.
Yeah,
I
I
think
can't.
you can say that.
I can't
Maybe
think of it.
Boondocks. And just
Maybe,
Boondocks
yeah.
is so like, you know, they go hand in hand so well.
Yeah.
And
Probably, I haven't watched it, but maybe Afro Samurai with
Afro Samurai, Kawiyo, dude.
With
That's
RZA,
one I
dude.
gotta watch.
I know, same here,
Honestly,
dude.
dude. I see so much good things. When people bring up Champloo, they always say Afro Samurai as well. I definitely gotta watch that, 100%.
Yeah, and thinking like something I just was thinking about with me saying that I wish I could have more, but you know, you brought up the point with, you know, Samurai Champloo and Nujabes go hand in hand. Obviously, unfortunately, Nujabes isn't with us anymore.
Right.
And you know, we couldn't have any more Samurai Champloo without him. So
if we did, dude, it'd have to be with either both, maybe Shingo 2 and Substantial controlling the music.
yeah,
Sure.
but still, like just as a fan of the series, like it almost feel wrong,
yeah,
you know, without him. So
of course.
probably it's best left where it's at.
I agree. All right, everybody, we're gonna wrap it up there. We're just shy of under an hour. This is, you know, we wanted to dedicate this episode, of course, just to Champloo. We have our recaps, but those we're gonna wait, of course, and maybe a couple weeks. I think we'll get it in the Akira episode. And is it Akira or is it Akira?
I've always called it Akira.
I've always called it Akira too.
Yeah.
And I feel kind of like a chump saying Akira, even though that might be the right way. And that's the funny thing too, is like, I know we say anime, we say manga, we say anime, but like, isn't like the correct way, like anime, right? But it's see, just saying it, I'm just like, that's not my position to say. As like half white, half Mexican person, like I'm sorry, I can't say that in confidence. So I'll stick to anime and Akira.
Just say it.
That's coming
you
up
feel.
next week. We do have a guest coming on for that, so we hope you guys enjoy that. We thank you so much for watching this episode. Like I mentioned, it's dedicated to Champloo, and of course, Nujabes.
We should touch base on what we're going to be watching in the future.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, Jordan, why don't you go ahead with yours, your suggestion? So we and Jordan actually flip-flopped. So I think I chose Champloo for the retro rewatch, and Jordan chose No Guns Live. So now we're gonna switch, and I'm gonna choose kind of like a new anime, and Jordan's gonna choose the retro.
Yeah, so this is something that's always been on my list, and I have no idea if it's good or not. But it's always like in my queue, it's always been there, and I just never have gotten to it. But it is Fist of the North Star, which I've heard people have talked about it before, and you know, it always has sounded cool to me.
Right.
So we're gonna experience this together.
Dude, well, I mean, it's like we have to when like, omae wemu shindeyu nani? Like, I'm so excited to see that in actual its whole entirety, and not just like YouTube clips and all that.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna be my recommendation is BNA, which is on Netflix. I know that's for something. I don't know what the full name is.
Brand New Animals.
Brand new, is that what it calls?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Oh, you don't believe me? I hear you typing.
Yeah, dude, look at you, bro. Good shit. Brand New Animals. So we're either gonna come out of that a furry fan or not.
Yeah, we'll see.
Those are what we got coming up.
And what were you thinking of? We haven't discussed this, but for our next manga read.
Oh, I don't know, man. I'm so in love with Chainsaw Man.
I know. Why we gotta be caught up? I mean, on anime Twitter, I have been seeing like everyone, and it's also got the anime adaptation coming out soon, but that Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh yeah. I'm game for that. I think there's one. What do we got? Yeah, I'm game for that.
I see a lot of fandom behind it, so.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Have you watched the trailer for it?
No.
For the anime? No? Looks pretty dope. Oh, we're going in.
I guess we're going in. We'll dive in.
Let's do it.
All right.
But yeah.
All good? All set? Anything else?
Nope, that's it, bro.
All right. Until next time, you can catch me on Twitter at Mr. Hans. I'll put the info right there. Jordan.
And I am on Twitter at HiRZA. That's with 3 Z's and an AH for the RZA part.
Yeah. Twitter, the main channel is Monch_Hours, and then on Instagram you find it at Monch_Manga. So, all right, everybody, take care. We'll see you on the next episode.
Yeah, we out.
Thanks for watching. Till next time on Monch Hours.